Hey everyone, thanks for joining my live TWINK reading, chapter 2. We're getting started a little bit late today, sorry about that. But to make up for it, I'm going to do the reading shirtless, so I hope you enjoy. Thanks everybody for coming tonight. I'm just going to wait a couple minutes for everyone to join. So we'll just get started soon. Hey Francis. Today, I'm going to be reading the ebook version on my MacBook. The book's available on Amazon in print, ebook, and Kindle, all those formats. So if you don't have it yet, pick up your copy on Amazon, and there's a link on my bio. So, Sang Tiffany says, "How are you doing?" I'm doing great. It's nice to see you guys. Thank you everybody for coming. And Red Bryce 11 says, "Is your twin gay also?" No, my twin is totally straight, and he's dating a girl now. I don't think he's ever done anything with guys. Anyways, we'll get right into it. So this is chapter 2 of TWINK, written by Taylor Saracen. Story about me. If waking up smack dab in the middle of physics class hadn't been an exceedingly jarring reminder of his reality, passing Luke Larson in the hallway between 6th and 7th hour certainly was. Though it wasn't out of the ordinary for the jock to overlook him, Luke failing to spare a glance in Kyle's direction stung more than expected. His vivid dream had made Kyle believe, at least for a few stolen moments, that things were much better than they actually were. In his fantasies, he had Luke, a savior, a hot ass who could get him out of Tennessee, and when he opened his eyes, he had nothing. Whether he was existing in a fantasy or in his new reality, Kyle couldn't ignore that even his dreams were riddled with pain, and the fact remained that there was nothing good in Iris Valley, Tennessee. Months earlier, when the premature, quote-unquote, midlife crisis that had compelled his mother to leave his father had reached its climax, Hope Ross announced her intention to uproot her sons' lives in their well-to-do Dallas suburb in order to plant them in the dirt roads of a terrible Tennessee town. Upon receipt of the news, Kyle had been understandably livid, especially when considering the impetus for the impulsive change. His intelligent, hardworking mother had lost her fucking mind. Somewhere between business trips and being the family's breadwinner, Hope had decided she needed to do something for herself. That something was chasing decades-old love across the country and dragging her kids along for the ride. While the swiftness of her parents' divorce had been surprising, his mother's next steps were downright dizzying. In the span of a month, Kyle had gone from a popular, outgoing student to a withdrawn, bullied outcast. Dealing with the divorce had been daunting, and the subsequent outcomes were too much for Kyle's 17-year-old heart to handle. To protect himself from further hurt, he'd folded in, arms wrapped around his knees, hiding his vulnerabilities the best he could. He'd tuned out, toked up, and tried to get through the days as numb as possible. It was easier to cope with the bullshit when he was on a different plane of consciousness, so that's where he hung out whenever possible, somewhere between the past and present, but mostly above it all. "Pass it," Kyle demanded as he sunk into the cognac leather couch beside his twin brother Chris. "Get your own," Chris huffed, dramatically turning his body away from Kyle as he took a hit from the bowl in his hand. "Really? You're not going to share?" "I'm sick of sharing with your greedy ass. What do you do for me?" Oh, hold on, I fucked it up. Kyle gnawed on his lower lip, considering the question before he decided to double down on delusion. Everything? "Everything," Chris repeated, lifting his eyebrows high in amusement. "Since when?" "Since always," Kyle decided, reaching over his brother's body in an attempt to grab the pipe Chris was holding just out of reach. Stop it. You stop it. A sharp elbow in the ribs had Kyle yelping before glaring at his unapologetic twin. Crossing his arms over his chest, Kyle sighed and gazed at the television, instantly annoyed by the crappy reality show Chris was watching. He didn't understand why his brother wasted time getting invested in the dysfunctional family featured in the series when he could simply reflect on the strangeness of their own situation and the arguments and anger it inspired. While Kyle didn't necessarily avoid drama, he couldn't help but find both the intensity and frequency of the conflict in his household to be exhausting. There was no way around the tension, but that didn't mean he felt driven to exist within it. I had a bad day, Kyle said softly, strategically battling the lids of his doleful doe eyes. Though they shared features and expressions, Kyle found that pulling their signature pouty face could still trigger some semblance of sympathy from his brother. Chris groaned and thrust the bowl into Kyle's waiting hands. What's going on? We still live here. So that makes it a bad day, Kyle replied, bringing the pipe to his lips. A deep inhale filled his lungs with smoke before a sputtering cough sent it out of his mouth and into the moist basement air. I thought something specific happened. Our mother specifically moved us here to chase some dick who hardly gives her the time of day. Kyle shook his head, wondering if he'd be forever floored by his mother's odd behavior. It would have been weird enough if she actually had a relationship with the guy, but the fact that she's just trying to have one, I can't wrap my head around it. She's doing something for me, Chris said, doing his best impression of his mother's defense. She's spent years of my life devoting my energy to everyone else, and now it's my time. Do you think she's bipolar or something? Maybe schizophrenic? Kyle wondered, nudging Chris's knee, holding his hand out for the pipe. You can't diagnose people with mental illness because they make an odd decision. She's shellfish. Narcissistic? Chris laughed. There's still a mental illness. Moving your kids across the country in an attempt to mount some redneck isn't an odd decision. It's a criminal offense. A criminal offense, Chris crackled. It should be, Kyle stated plainly. The sound of his older brother Matt plodding down the basement stairs drew Kyle's attention. And he suddenly wished he was locked in his bedroom rather than sharing a communal space with his siblings. It wasn't that he didn't like his brothers, it was more that he couldn't stand them. Losers, Matt admonished, glancing from Kyle to Chris to the television and back again. Why are you down here if we're losers? Chris retorted, kicking Matt's shin when he sat at the coffee table in front of them. You're blocking the TV, dick breath. You losers have weed, Matt replied, waving his hand for the bowl. Reluctantly, Kyle handed the pipe to his brother, not in the mood to put up a fight. Matt grinned and stood up only to plop himself down in the overstuffed chair next to the couch. What are you chicks bitching about today? This chick, Chris corrected, gesturing towards Kyle, is complaining about Mom in the move. Same shit, different day, huh, Kyle? Matt remarked after blowing a plume of smoke from his nose. You're just annoyed that you don't have your little army of admirers out here. You're bitter that you never had an army of admirers to begin with, Kyle shot back, standing up to grab the bowl from his brother's hand. Though Kyle would never admit it, there was some truth to Matt's assertion. While he wouldn't exactly refer to his friends as a quote-unquote army of admirers, he did miss having people around who gave a shit about what he had to say, though everything he did was awesome and thought everything he did was awesome and laughed at his jokes. Honestly, he missed having friends at all. Transferring to a new school where he didn't know anyone in the middle of his junior year was a recipe for loneliness, so he got baked as often as possible to cope with the feeling. I'm not even going to lie, I miss mine, Chris said with a shrug. How can you miss a group of people who never existed, Kyle laughed, dodging an attempt to kick from his twin. Because you were the only one with friends, right? Chris said defensively. Is that what you're saying? Kyle took a quick hit and passed the weed to his brother. You need this more than me. Don't you two get tired of being so annoying? Matt wondered, leaning over to grab the remote from the arm of the couch. Switching the input, He retrieved the Xbox controller from between the cushions and started a single-player game, unaffected by how bizarre his behavior was. "Don't you get tired of being such a faggot?" Chris asked with a shit-eating grin, earning the middle finger for Matt. While typically Kyle wouldn't flinch at the term they so casually tossed between them, thoughts of his dream earlier that day allowed the usage to provoke a pang of pain in his chest. He never let it hurt before. It was the most common insult at his previous school in Texas, and certainly wasn't reserved for the guys who were into other dudes. The last thing he wanted to do was grow sensitive over a word he'd never own. "Says the biggest faggot I know," Matt scoffed. Kyle rolled his eyes at their immaturity before leveling down with some of his own. "You're both faggots," he decided as he stood abruptly. He hadn't thought of what he'd do after he rose to his feet, so instead of provoking them further, he turned on his heels and headed up the stairs. He had better things to do than chill with their annoying asses. Tossing himself down on his full-size bed, he stared up at the ceiling, attempting to come to terms with the fact that, unfortunately, he didn't have anything better to do. Fanning his fingers on his chest, he rolled his lips under his teeth. Kyle considered his options. The television in the basement had been bogarted, and the one in the living room didn't have cable yet. He thought about getting online, but social media brought him down. The last thing he wanted to do was look at pictures of all his friends having a good time in Texas while he's rotting in bumfuck Egypt. Though he regretted impulsively leaving the couch and weed, he refused to go back downstairs to hang out with those dumbasses. The needy straining in his groin urged him to kill time and benefit from some natural stress relief. Here we go. Tucking his hands below, are you ready? Tucking his hand below the waistband of his boxer briefs, Kyle began to fondle his cog, grinning when it responded immediately to the touch. In a world full of constant disappointments, his dick never let him down. Shimmying himself free, he closed his eyes and implored his mind to recreate the fantasy it had so brilliantly produced about Luke Larson. As he increased the speed of his wrist, he thought of being tossed over the shoulder of the Titan, cared for like he was a child. He wanted to be coveted like that. Vividly imagined kisses sent Kyle over the edge, and he frantically reached for the tissues he had on his nightstand. Throwing the wad of paper onto the ground beside the bed, Kyle curled up into the fetal position and closed his eyes. A nap sounded nice. And there you have it. That was chapter 2 of TWINK, written by the beautiful Taylor Saracen, and it's available on Amazon in print and ebook. So I guess this is a book club. So if you guys want to submit your questions or anything, I'm going to start reading what's going on here in the chat now. Matt Need says, "Kyle, you're awesome." Thank you. You're awesome. Thanks for coming to my reading. Inhale Exhale says, "Are you still with Max?" We don't live together anymore, and we're not really official, but we definitely still hang out, and we're still pretty close. Taylor Saracen says, "Hi." Hey, hey Taylor. Thanks for writing my book. I like it. K-Book Stein says, "Damn, bro, look at you." Yeah, I've been working out a little bit, you know. I could get used to it. Kyle 2.0 is here to stay. Hi from Calgary, Canada. Hi there. Hello from America. Speak Indonesia, please. I don't think I can speak Indonesian. Luke Larson swoon, Taylor says. Yeah, definitely. B. Aho Yolo says, "I need this book." Well, you can get it on Amazon. Just search TWINK on Amazon, and you can get a print or ebook version. And join in next week, because we have 2 chapters next week, Tuesday, Thursday. We're going to keep doing this thing. The body you got is brilliant, excellent progress, and have come a long way. Thank you. Here's like a little... Oh, and you'll see back there, I still have my tree up. It's not so much because I'm lazy, but it's still in good shape, and I really like it. Let's see. Hey man, how you been? Looking good. Been a fan for a long time. You're awesome. I've been great, and thank you for the compliment. I'm trying to gain some weight, so right now I'm kind of on the heavy side, but we'll cut this down and it's going to look really nice. At least my trainer says that. A lot of people saying hello. Love from India. You're super sexy from Superboy. Thank you, Superboy. Thanks, everybody. Bulldog731, thank you. Hello from Raleigh, North Carolina. Hi. Hey from Las Vegas. Ash the kid says, the almond milk makes you better skin. I don't know what that means. William Hamlet says, you look good, buddy. Those awesome muscles. Love from South Carolina. Oh, thank you. Sending love from Vegas to South Carolina. 318 said, last time he missed the live show, and he's glad he made it. Well, thanks so much for coming, and I'm going to continue these Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 Pacific Standard Time. Rogan Shaw says, you're my favorite porn star. Thank you. Hopefully there will be a lot more stuff for you, or a lot more videos you can enjoy. Hello from Germany. Hey, hi, cutest Gabor Hanover from Germany. Whatever that means. Slow to chat. Oh yeah, for those of you who don't know, or who are just joining, the reading, or that joined halfway through, the book I was reading is my book TWINK, written by Taylor Saracen. There's links to it on my Twitter bio, and it's kind of like a fictionalized biography of the most difficult times of my life, struggling with being gay and coming out, things like that. Francis says, did you really have the dream in your first chapter? Actually, yeah. I had that legit dream, and I woke up that morning, and I called Taylor, and I was like, hey, Taylor, I just had this dream, and I think it should be part of the book. And so the first chapter was an actual dream I had, and she just wrote it very nicely and very accurately to how I remember the dream was. Red Bryce says, when did you come out to your brothers? Honestly, like, I didn't really come out. Like, I just kind of started, like, making more jokes about being gay. Like, I would joke that if I joined the wrestling team, I couldn't do it because I'd get a boner fighting the guys. But I think that my family really, like, my whole family knew I was gay at the same time that I told them that I was filming porn for Helix Studios. Can you show us what you did with your hand? I guess, like, it was something like this. That's all I can show you on Instagram, though. Ash the Kid says, what kind of music do you listen to? I like all kinds of music. Anything from top 40s to hip-hop, to N-word music, to, classics. I like it all. Ariana Grande, some Britney stuff. I like everything. A fan of all kinds of music. Elton John, all the good ones. Nicholas Selver says, very proud of you. Been watching you since the smart car video. Love your work. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love. Vintage Chick says, highlight of my week. Thank you. And here, I guess I'll show off a little bit because I've been working out really hard on my body, and I'm shirtless anyways. So I'm trying to gain 20 more pounds, but it's been like a nice journey. I've like been very happy reaching my fitness goals. I'm up maybe like 25 pounds in the past, maybe it's like 5-6 months I've been training, so very happy. Red Bryce 11 says, were you out in high school? No, not technically. I went to high school in Texas and Tennessee, and it was really just not a normal thing to be out at the time. And so I kind of flew under the radar. But there was just a point when I stopped lying about it. I stopped trying to mislead people, and but I didn't have an official like coming out. There was nothing like that. F.N. Fairman says, do you like Britney Spears? Of course I like Britney Spears. And yeah, I get asked a lot, like, what kind of music do you listen to? And like I was saying, a huge range of music. I like, of course, Britney Spears. I like No Doubt. I like all kinds of, I like hard hip hop, trap music, all kinds of music. Oh, and one of my guilty pleasures is listening to NSYNC. There are like 3 top songs, like I Want You Back and Tearing Out My Heart or Bye Bye. I love all those songs. Like I listen to them almost every day. I'm kind of obsessed. I'm a little girl like that, but oh well. I can't read this name. Amanda Maria Dulce Gabbana says, when is your next porn film? I'm actually filming Monday, so with Kevin Daly. So he's got a nice big cock, and I'm really excited to do my scene with him. So it should be exciting. So check out, or keep an eye out on the Helix site for my new scene in the next couple of weeks. James Santee says, bring back the goatee. Hi, I'm from DC. Yeah, I shaved it off. I'm getting ready for my scene, and I was tanning today, so I wanted to make sure my face got evenly tanned. Rainbow Pride Life says, I remember when you were like skinny. Yeah, I remember it too. It wasn't really that long ago. I still feel kind of skinny. I have like a lot of work to do, but hey. Do you have a nice V-line now? Don't get too bulky. Red Bryce asked. Here, I'll show. Yeah, I think so. Got some new curves, It's certainly easier to get dates these days. Jace 5Q731977 says, have you finished reading the book already? I love it. Seeing you read it live is even better. Yeah, I just read chapter 2 today. So those of you who missed it, you can check out the replay when I'm done with this. Jesse $1113 says, do you still have the Corvette? Yes, of course I do. The Corvette's my baby. It's a stick shift, and it's got 465 horsepower, so I fly around town, and I absolutely love that thing. I'm going to have it for my whole life, I know it. Taylor says, you did a wonderful job, Kyle. I'm off to write. And she's working on the next book in the series, as well as she writes our scripts for our scenes. Bye, Taylor. Thanks so much for joining. And hopefully Taylor will be live. Taylor Saracen, the author of TWINK, will be live with us next time. Hopefully. I like Chris more after reading the book. He's so lovely in it, Janet Swing says. Yeah, it's funny because with the book, while we were writing it, Chris was asking me, like, how's it going and everything else. And he wanted his character to be depicted a certain way. And I was like, don't worry, you have a huge dick in the book to my twin. And so he's like, okay, perfect. And he didn't have any more questions about his character after. Hola from Mexico. Hi. Thank you for coming. Nicholas says, I actually came out this year. It was scary, but a relief. Yeah, I think ultimately you realize it's not a big deal. And anyone who has a problem with it, you know, they probably aren't good for you in your life anyways. Fallen Upward says, do you practice or have rehearsals before a porn shoot? No, we just, for my shoot that's going on Monday, I'm just going to show up and, I have all my ways of preparing for the shoot and my routine. It's become very normal for me. And what we will do, though, is we shoot the X-rated photos before the actual video. So we kind of have a run-through. So when we shoot the photos before the actual video side, it's sort of a rehearsal, I guess. That's when we go over the positions that we're going to be doing, and we're all ready for it. Francis says you should keep your delicious complexion. I'm not really sure what that means, but thank you, Francis. Love you. Nick King says you're perfect the way you are. Thank you, Nick. Hi from Japan. Hey, Japan. Or Haruhu. I don't know how to say that, but hi there. Thank you for coming. Nicholas says you're the perfect weight. Marvelous. I'm gonna try to get up 20 more pounds, so my goal weight is 160. I'm like 145 right now. Evan Kale says, what's the creepiest experience you've had with a fan? I'm not sure I can single one out. I think that people can be sort of creepy in general, and I've made my bed with that one, so I'm not mad about it. You know, when you appear in like sexy films, people, when they meet you, they've jerked off to you, and so they can sometimes be just a bit awkward. It makes it hard to just meet like authentic friends that don't just want to fuck you. Jake Warden 69 says, what's your favorite position? Definitely the missionary position, just nice and simple. When I'm bottoming, whether I'm topping or bottoming, I like to just lay there, honestly. It's nice to get ridden by someone that has a nice big ass and just lay there and kind of relax and do one of these things and just, I'm kind of lazy, so honestly. Don't you have a Rainbow Pride Life says, don't you have a boyfriend? If so, how would that work if you're a porn star? I was with another adult film star, Max Carter. I'm sure most of you heard of him. We were together for 7 years, and we recently split up. So I'm single right now, but yeah, it is tough to have boyfriends that are outside of the industry. It can be very life-changing once you're exposed the way people in my industry have been exposed. And some people, you know, it's natural to be objectified because, let's face it, we put our bodies out there and you become a commodity. So it's difficult for people to take you seriously in a relationship. It makes it very challenging, especially for people who are outside of the porn world dating someone that is in the porn world. Dory says, what are you doing tonight? Going out with your friends? No, I don't have any friends, so I'm not going out. Anna Maria Dulce Gabbana says, change your hair color for change. Noted, and you'll notice actually though it's kind of getting dark, so I haven't bleached in a while, so, but no, I don't know if I'm going to change the color. I might get it cut or something, before my scene at least. Red Bryce says, have you ever shot with someone who you really weren't that into? Well, I've shot almost 100 scenes, so, I mean, there's one or two in there that, I don't know. I like guys that are above 140 pounds, so, I wouldn't single out anyone that I didn't like, but I would say that I prefer the bigger jock types. Francis says, don't tan. Too late, I tanned today, and I'm going to continue tanning for my scene on Monday. Nicholas says, before a shooting, is it recommended not to have sex the night before? Absolutely. It's a great question. Yeah, you don't want to prematurely blow your load and screw it up. Like, I try to save up a nice load for my, a nice cum shot for my, for my scene. So so the night before, they actually specifically request that you don't, ejaculate. Travis says, I see you getting bigger and it's cute. Beast mode. Here, I'll give you another flex shot. It's been pretty nice. I'm at 140 pounds now. Some people were scared of losing Twink Kyle, but I kind of like this better. Red Bright says, has you ever jerked off to one of your own films? Absolutely. I have some favorite films that I have certainly jacked off to. Of course, I'm not looking at myself. I'm looking at, the guy fucking me. I don't jerk off to myself. I mean, I might now, but. William says that you and Max are both awesome. Well, thank you. I'll let him know you said so. Nicholas says, are you dealing with the breakup okay? It kind of sucks. I was dating Max from 18 to age 25, so it's quite the adjustment. I kind of hate being single, so it's hard to find things to do, especially living in Las Vegas. I really miss living in San Diego, and it's just a tough time to have be breaking up. Is right when you move to a new city, especially Vegas. So. But I have my office job out here, and it's how I make a living. And so all I can do is embrace the whole situation and just play the cards I'm dealt. Fred Bryce 11 says, have you ever had to shoot with someone you didn't want to? I used to shoot so often that, maybe I'd end up on the set and I didn't, care for their look or something, but no, especially these days, I only shoot with people I want to shoot with. They never would ask me to shoot with someone that I didn't want to shoot with. I would just say no. Evan Kale says, are you ever going to direct or produce? I'd like to one of these days, so, maybe one day, but it would be a bit premature to announce anything like that. William Hammett says, how does one talk to a gay porn star without seeming creepy? I'm afraid that I would do that if I met a gay porn star in person. I don't know. I think that it's a really good question. I would say you would just talk to them like anybody else that you would be talking to. If you see a porn star out and about and you're a fan of theirs, I would recommend if you wanted to talk to them, you talk to them like they're just anybody else that you would see. Try not to gawk at them, or, you can tell them that you're a big fan if you want. Just be honest about it. But just don't be rude. Don't talk about how you like seeing them get fucked in certain ways. I don't know. Just talk to them like anybody else that you'd see out and about. Karis81 says, hugs and good night. Good night. Thanks so much for joining. Caitlin says, are you and Max still talking? Absolutely. We're still very close friends. We get together often, and yeah. Evan Kale says, this is way more interesting than the nightly news I was watching. Well, I'm so glad that you're enjoying this. Devin says, thanks again for sharing and good night. Good night, Devin. Thanks so much for joining. Francis says, would you have fucked yourself when you were super Twinkie. No, I don't think so. I'm more into like established, at least 140 pounds. Like, come on. Karis X81 says, I think you were very sweet. Do you plan on doing more than adult acting in the future? I think you should expand your horizons. Well, I guess some people don't know, but I work in the office for Helix. I work operations, and I do the bookkeeping and like run the payroll and do our payments and things like that. So I actually do work quite a bit. It's a desk job. I go in Monday through Friday, and that's where I earn the majority of my living. Is from doing office work, actually, and the modeling and all that stuff is actually my side job. So yeah, I do quite a bit more than just the acting, and also I've been working on certain I don't know how much I want to talk about it, but I might be coming up with a product line sometime in the near future, so keep an eye out for that. I don't want to say too much though. Red Bryce 11 says, what do you think of the kinkier stuff like golden showers? I think to each their own. I haven't tried anything like that, but if someone was to ask me on a questionnaire, yes, no, maybe, I would say maybe for golden showers. So, I mean, I would pee in somebody's mouth if they wanted me to. In the shower, at least, not on my bed. Max Pie says, does it scare you when fans go crazy on you? Not usually. I haven't experienced anything too crazy, and usually I just am flattered and I feel complimented if somebody, goes crazy or something. There was a fan who showed up at my gym to ask for a signature or an autograph on his book, and that was a little bit weird. I think I don't know how he figured out where I was going to be, but he just showed up at my gym, and I was nice to him, and I am flattered. It's cool that somebody would come and ask for my autograph, but it was just kind of weird. Good night, Karis81. Nicholas says, you're a great guy. I hope you get everything you deserve. I see your heart is genuine. I see greatness in you. Thank you. Max posted the picture of the horse emoji. He must be referring to my new post on OnlyFans, onlyfans.com/KyleRossXXX. I just recently woke it up, so I'm uploading videos regularly. There's going to be at least 2 new videos a week. Don't quote me on that, but I'm going to try to do that. And so yeah, make sure that you subscribe to my OnlyFans. There's a link in my bio. And yes, in my latest video, I am taking a horse dildo that is life-sized. So it's my favorite toy. His name is Bojack. Yes, from the Netflix show BoJack Horseman. I don't, and I would show you guys the toy, but I think I would get kicked off Instagram. Nathan Vegas says, what's the tea? Hey Nathan, thanks for joining. I don't know. There's not really much tea I would spill live on this. Just trying to find my way through Vegas, and yeah, I don't know. I'd like to have more friends out here, so. MJ Dews says, what's the hardest part of the industry? I think the hardest part is when you're a public figure in the industry and you're on social media and things like that. People who meet you when you're out, they know the public figure version of you, and they don't necessarily know you, and so it can be kind of depressing. You go out and people, they want to talk to you, and they talk to you like they know you, and there's really, from my end, there's maybe like not as much substance to the relationship as I'd like. So it just makes it hard to have normal friends. I'm new and living in Las Vegas now, and anybody that I meet, it's like the first thing they know is, oh, he's the Helix guy, and they just want to meet Helix models, and they just, they might want to be your friend for the wrong reasons, and so that's what's really tough about it. Janet Sang says, have you ever had sex with your fans? Yes. Not like I don't seek them out, but I've certainly hooked up with someone that was a fan of mine before I hooked up with them, I mean. The Adam Carroll says, I'd be your friend. Oh, thank you. Anyways, guys, it's almost 8 o'clock, so I'm going to wrap this up. I'll just do one last flex, kind of show you guys what I've been working on. I'm up at 140 pounds now, so I don't know. Make sure to buy my book on Amazon. Just search TWINK, and also check out my OnlyFans. There's a link in my bio. Thank you guys so much for joining me this evening, and I will see you live next Tuesday. Good night, everyone.